ancient cosmology. See if I can do this without straining my messed up back. Boy. It's gonna be hard. Maybe I'll have to move this piece of shit over here. Alright, so been studying the Pretas. So the Pretas are like the Buddhist hungry spirits. You know, like when you give offerings to the dead in Buddhism, it's supposed to go directly to the hungry spirits, the Pretas, who are the Aleutian Islands. And so, yeah. So this is one of the Aleutian Islands called Hawadax. So the Aleutians are, I mean, the Aleutians are Alaskan, but you know, technically there's the archipelago that they're part of geologically also includes some Russian islands, so it basically goes all the way to the Russian coast. But this one's kind of in the middle between Asia and America. So yeah, I suspect that this is the island referenced here in this myth. This is from the early Buddhism, Indian Buddhism. You know, this is from either Sanskrit or Pali. And so yeah, I'm gonna try to read this freaking thing here. In the world of the living. So this is the Preta, who is probably this island, who's probably Hawadax. He's talking. He's saying, in Eurasia, I acted against my welfare with slander and lies, and through fraud and deceit. There, when I approached a company and the time to speak the truth came, I disregarded right conduct, Dhamma. I don't know how to pronounce this shit. I'm saying Dhamma, because they don't put an R in it in the spelling. Honestly, like the way actual Buddhists say it sounds like drama, but whatever. So that's right conduct, Dhamma, and my welfare. I disregarded right conduct, Dhamma, and my welfare, and engaged in wrong conduct, Adhamma. Just as I now devour the flesh from my own back, in the same way will he who is a backbiter have to devour himself. You yourself have seen this, Narada. Those who are compassionate and meritorious would say, do not slander or tell lies, and do not be a backbiter. So basically it's saying, like, if you're a dick, then you will become like this island in your next life or in the afterlife, and you'll just have to eat your own back. So I suspect it's this island. Like, this is shaped like a foot. This is like a knee. This is kind of like a butt. So then this could be his face, you know, reaching back and biting his own back. And this might be another iteration of his face facing forward, even though the nose is different. But at least, yeah, that's my guess for this one. So, you know, they just use geography to teach lessons, you know, I mean, they use the geography to teach the lesson, and they use the lesson to memorize the geography. So it's complementary. I'll be in my office. So yeah, I'm not sure though how you say backbiter in Sanskrit or Pali or whatever, but clearly they have basically the same word as we have in English. So this is a little of the, I didn't get the whole thing, but there's some more of it. So one day after leaving the company, the king, a friend of the minister, so the minister is the one, like this is a priest who becomes this, it's a backbiting priest who becomes this island. One day after leaving the company of the king, a friend of the minister asked if he had indeed observed the Uposatha. This is like a day of fasting or something. This friend then convinced the minister to observe it for merely half a day. The minister agreed, went home, rinsed his mouth, abstained from food, and observed the Uposatha. But he died during the night, whereupon he was immediately reborn as a Preta, inhabiting a celestial mansion inside a mountain. So there are mountains on that island, and mountains in general are associated with the celestial sphere or celestial realm. So that could be what it's referring to. Also, maybe the Arctic area is considered celestial in some ways. Thanks to keeping the Uposatha for that single night, he received the celestial mansion along with the retinue of 10,000 women and the delights of heaven. His features were radiant, and he shone as bright as the sun, with his body adorned with garlands, a crown, and ornaments, and anointed with sandalwood. But due to his false declaration in Bimbisara and his slander, the only food he could eat was the flesh he gouged from his own back. One day the monk Narada encountered him and inquired what he did in a previous life to result in having a wondrous appearance, yet being fated to consume the flesh from his own back. So, and then the Preta replies, and that was what I read previously. So, so I think this is like a crown. I mean, this is actually like the Egyptian kind of crown of, Upper Egypt, or yeah, I guess it's, or Lower Egypt. But and he's cool looking dude in many ways, but then he just has to eat his own back because he fucked up. Alright, so this is an anime I'm watching. It's called I Reincarnated as a Slug. So it's like this guy, he reincarnates as a slug. He's basically in America, the underworld, surrounded by all these Oni demons and stuff, ogres. But then there's this other guy. This is not the main guy. This is somebody else, another demon or monster or whatever. And so he got hit so hard he like almost died. So he said, I saw my father waving at me from across the river. So that's like a saying, I think, to mean that you're close to death, like a near-death experience. Because he thought his dad was dead, maybe. But then she said, one of these people say, your father's alive, dork. And then he's like surprised. And he says, huh? So I guess he thought his father was killed or something. But yeah, so that just shows like crossing water, like the afterlife land is always seen as the land across the water, the other side. Whenever you cross water, it's symbolically, like in Buddhism and in other traditions, it's like symbolic of the afterlife because of that. Now, all right, so this is about to get even weirder, yo. So this is like the ancient Egyptian book of the underworld, the book of two ways from 4,000 years ago. So it has like 20 parts. But this part may refer to the whole, or at least to much of the whole. So it says, it's translated from hieroglyphs. As for anyone who knows the document. Don't know how to pronounce that. Basically, this book, the Book of Two Ways, he is thereby, and the Book of Two Ways is a map of America and of the whole earth, which uses a lot of myths to, memorize analogous shapes. Hey guys, hey Luke, hey Jonathan, hola Leandro, hi Wild Bear. So, wait, I think they're already all gone. Not like the king of the live chat situation. All right, so the Book of Two Ways is just a map of the earth and of the sky as well, like interwoven. So, as for anyone who knows this document, he is thereby more transfigured than Osiris. So Osiris is famously, changed because of his brother Set, the storm god. Like Osiris is like an earth god, and he seems to represent Afro-Eurasia itself. And his brother Set, the storm god, who seems to represent Jupiter, flooded him a bunch of times and drowned him and cut him up, and so he changed his shape. So that explains how, land changes shape as the, through erosion and through the sea level changes. So yeah, Osiris. So Osiris seems to be Afro-Eurasia, but also Orion. That's my hypothesis, and that of many. I mean, certainly that he's associated with Orion is pretty universally acknowledged, but he certainly also seems to be associated with Afro-Eurasia, even to the extent that people who are from Afro-Eurasia are seen as being Osiris. Like they represent their continent, they embody their continent. So yeah, he is. As for anyone who knows the document, he is thereby more transfigured than Osiris. He has passed every tribunal in which Thoth was. So Thoth is the planet Mercury, which, travels through the different tribunals, the different zodiac houses and whatnot. It is and also Mercury goes around the earth, the most. It's the one most known for going to the underworld and being the fastest, most traveling planet. So in the tribunal in which Thoth was, also pronounced Jehudi, now it is in the tribunal of Osiris that Thoth will be, when a man, a great one, who is on his leg of traveling to the beautiful West. So the beautiful West is America, Amentet Neferet. Amentet is West, Neferet is beautiful. It is in the purification of the beginning of the 4-day period that the man should recite it 4 times. And on this 4th day, being precise more than anything, that he should travel. So the 4-day period, I'm not exactly sure, but there's a good chance it's the 4 days left over from the solar year. If you give every month 30 days, I don't know, I think it's like that. If you give every month 30 days, then you get either 12 or 13, I think you get 12 months, and then you got 4 days left over that are considered holy or kind of weird or something. And so there's certain things you can or can't do on those days, but you're supposed to travel to America basically on those days. So if that is, so I don't know what days that would be. if it is like our solar calendar, like if it's in the winter, then that would make sense because that is the best time to, travel to America across the Arctic, either from Siberia or from Iceland, from Scotland. Um, so it is in the purification of the 4th day period that the man should recite it 4 times, and it is on his 4th day, being precise more than anything, that he should travel. If, however, anyone likes to know it while still being alive on his own feet, it is after he has rubbed his body with the Buddhist substance of the girl and the sniffed substance of the bald man that he should recite it every day. So I think it's saying that if you want to actually go to America, if you want to actually sail around the earth, then you should start it in the winter. Or wait, no, you wouldn't want to start it in the winter to go north. Well, I don't know. For some reason, you start it at whatever the 4-day period. It could be in spring, because if their years are anything like, because I mean, at least a lot of the lunar calendars have their New Year's in the spring. So maybe it's that. And maybe that's the perfect time to start your voyage across the Arctic. But it says, if, however, anyone likes to know it while still being alive on his own feet, because it's like the idea that this voyage is only for the dead, for the soul. But it doesn't say that here. It just says travel. But here it does say, if you do want to know it while still being alive on your own feet, then you can da-da-da. So I think there's a joke here, like a riddle. It's saying, going to the underworld symbolizes death, and in theory, or at least mythically, nobody can go there unless they're dead or if they're God. But here it's saying that, it's either just using that symbolism and kind of saying, well, if you don't go to the underworld, like if you do go to the underworld, you're symbolically dead and reborn. Whereas if you don't go to the underworld, you're just alive. But I think it's also kind of making a joke or a riddle where it's making it sound like you have to be dead to go there. But really it's just saying, however, if anyone wants to know it while still being on his feet, because being on your feet is like can be a euphemism for being alive. He's still right side up. I'm still on my feet. But in this case, it means being on your feet as opposed to sitting in a boat, traveling by boat. When you're on land, you travel by foot. When you're on a boat, you travel by oar. So I think that's what it's trying to say. So if, however, anyone wants to know, while he is still alive on his own feet, it is after he has rubbed his body with the substance of the girl and the substance of the bald man that he should recite it every day. So I think this is piss and menses, like the substance, the Buddhist substance of the Mitzvah girl or whatever, the Mitzvah girl is probably menses, menstrual fluid, which is, probably used like kind of like a stem cell type of thing, and probably for estrogen and stuff. And then the substance of the bald man is probably piss, because bald men have the most testosterone, so that's probably, you're getting the estrogen from the menses and you're getting the testosterone from the bald piss. And so they're just like bathing and, rubbing this stuff into themselves every single day while reciting this entire book, which is basically tells you where every island and star is. And then gives kind of clues to much else. You know, it's like an index, and you can follow it even further with probably other books. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, we don't know what is this book. It's basically I think the book has to do with traveling. Something in the title has to do with traveling book. So yeah, that's the best I can say for that. All right, so this is from the Japanese Buddhist Hellscapes. I can't remember if this is part of the Hell of Repetition or if this is part of the Hell of Assembly. But, it's basically, it shows this guy, the Fisher Demon, and then it's the hell with the sword trees or the knife trees that have like a hot chick in them, and then the guy tries to climb up to reach her and he gets like cut to shit. And then there's some like bird like eating somebody. So anyway, the Fisher guy is this, Point Hope, Alaska. Like his pointy head is here, his pole is here, his line is there. The bird is this guy, this island, which is actually right there, and has this kind of long eye shape, and he's eating these limbs and heads and stuff that are these other islands right in here. And then this part here, the sword tree, is this like burger. I forgot the name of this lagoon. It's like a weird name, like a Germanic type of name, but that's the sword tree, and she's like part of it. I think she's like in here. This might be her head or something, and then he's over here, full of holes. I'm not sure where these legs are. The legs are either these things down here or something else. Let's see, these are the potentially two iterations of her. I think the main iteration of her is Egg Island, but for her shape, for her form, but for her position next to this pole, it seems to be based on Peninsula Island, which is almost the same exact size and looks somewhat similar. Has the same kind of weird notch here and stuff. I don't know. Similar color. So yeah, that's in Yamapura, in basically the capital of hell, but it's also like the capital of the cosmos, pretty much. So yeah, this is because she's shown right to the right of this pole, which is Big Koniuji Island. And she's actually, like, Egg Island is way down here because she's also shown next to these guys. So her form is taken from Egg, but her position is taken from Peninsula. And like these are both probably named based on the analogous, or this is probably named for analogous shape, that at least maybe some part of it is shaped like an egg. Certainly not that part, but at least this part. And then this one is named for its topography or whatever its shape because of this peninsula on this side. Skinny little peninsula. This is the Lord of the Cosmos, Yama. This is some kind of anthropomorphic shape, Neanderthaloid shape. This is Hawadax again. And this is an island somewhere up, I think in Alaska, that looks like America. You know, it could have even been altered to resemble America. South America, Central America, Florida, you know, Hudson Bay, Alaska, Quebec. I mean, it's not exact, but for an island, it looks a lot like America. So this is this section of hell. So yeah, this guy, the fisher demon, and the bird are both at Point Hope up here. And then the rest of it, like the sword tree, is in Krusenstern Lagoon. So if you can say Krusenstern Lagoon 10 times fast, then I'll take off my top. All right, so this is the Chukchi Sea. So the Chukchi people are on both sides. They live in Siberia and they live in Alaska. They've been going back and forth for hundreds and thousands of years. So yeah, this is a pretty big area. It's probably like, I don't know, 1,000-mile area or something. Certainly hundreds of miles. So this is a bigger area. This has to be at least 1,000 miles, a couple thousand. So yeah, it shows here Northern Alaska in 19th century Japanese Buddhist woodblock print hellscape scroll illustrated essentials of rebirth in the Pure Land. So number 1 is the fisherman and the bird up at Point Hope. Number 2 is the sword tree at Lagoon. Number 3 is Cape Baldwin Demon. Number 4 is the Kobuk River Delta area peninsula thing. Number 5 is Point something or oh yeah, I forget what these 2 points are named, but they have names. 5 and 6, these 2 chicks or people or whatever are these 2 peninsulas. And then 7 is this other person here that's kind of upside down. Their butt is here, their leg and butt is delineated by the Korik River Delta. This is Sound. This demon is Cape Denby. This is Stewart. And then this island is Saint Michael, I think. Saint something. So yeah, this is a pretty big area just shown in those 3 things. There's another panel that's right in here. It's like smaller stuff, but I didn't use that because you can't see it from this vantage point. Oh yeah, watching the Gilmore Girls, which they took off of Netflix, like everything. They keep taking everything off, putting it back on. But you know, I watched it with my mom. But like they had some stuff about mnemonics in it. This is like some kind of shape in the earth that looks like a deer or something, or little beaver or something. So okay, so he says, I'm bad with names, so help me with the names, to his daughter, who's like a genius or whatever. So then she says, let's see, comments. All right, damn it. Okay, I think they like scrambled my comments. Just goes the other way. Okay, yeah. So she says, oh, damn it. Basically, she's talking to him about mnemonics. Fuck. Well, I did this all in order, but Facebook sucks. Like, this used to be able to do this so easily. You could post anything, it would all post in the same order. They ruined everything in this shit website. So she's talking about mnemonic devices, because that's what all my work is like mnemonic devices. So she talks about like how to memorize names with like mnemonic devices. Shotsworth, Fatsworth, Alvarado, Avocado. I do this type of stuff a lot too. That's a mnemonic device. Curtis Shuren from Kurdistan. Oh yeah, here she says, you ever use mnemonic devices? But he's never heard of it, so he's like, maybe. And then she like explains how it works. They help you remember things. And then it shows her going to like science camp or something, and all the kids are singing some mnemonic song about the periodic table or something. And also Mendelssohn and Nobelium and whatever the fuckium, and there's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium. So yeah, maybe it was made up by some Berkeley graduate or Berkeley students. But so yeah, it's a long ass song, and these little kids are like, they memorize the whole thing because it rhymes, and I don't know. I mean, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's the best mnemonic song because, I mean, if everything ends with then of course they're all going to rhyme, but it's not the best rhyme. But you know, it works. If it taught all those kids the entire periodic table, then it fulfilled its role as a mnemonic device. So yeah, my phone is like wigging out, trying to focus or unfocus itself. There's a meme I made about Israel. You know, they use pagers as a Trojan horse. It's funny, like, people don't realize how fucked up the Trojan horse story is. Like in Dante, like, you know, the guy is like in hell for doing that because it's like he just tricked them. He gave them a present, and then like it's like pagers, like, oh, here, would you like to buy our fine pagers? By the way, we're gonna blow your house up with it. Very shady. So yeah, there's that section. Hell again. It's like it's hard to see the bird, especially because just the colors are so dark in that lagoon or bay or whatever. Or in here. But anyway, kind of see a lot of the details. I didn't show like below here. I'm sure there's more details to him, but it gets like weirder down there, or less obvious. So yeah, like this woman, like I'm thinking her hand is either this, her hand is probably this, unless it's something up here. But no, I think her hand is this and this, which is kind of like her foot, but maybe not, is like probably this thing. So she's not super anthropomorphic. The more obvious thing is just the kind of like long, granular, spiky kind of aspect of this land here, being the sword tree that cuts you up when you try to chase after pussy and whatnot. Yar. So there we go, those guys. Birdie. So yeah, the head, like he's eating, the bird's eating an arm and has a head in its tail or something. So actually the head is right here. That's another island. And then the arm is, well, it's like over here, I think. This has a shape like a face, like a, somewhat Neanderthaloid face with the eye there and the nose and the mouth. So this could be partly augmented or altered or whatnot. That's in like northern Alaska or Nunavut or something. Like this is Point Hope right here. So this is basically the northernmost tip of Alaska. The nose. Here's these guys again. So this guy, like the guy who's like getting eaten. It's hard to see him there, but he's some part of this land here. Like his mouth is probably some little inlet or kind of bay on the side there. Hope, Cruising Stern Lagoon. This island is not named in Google Earth, and even AI or anything will not tell me the name of that island. I'm sure it has a name. It has a native name at least. I don't know if it has an Anglo name or not. Let's see, there's some Aboriginal woman making up one of these type of symbolic maps, mytho maps. So yeah, Manara Ray Ken was a respected Pitjantjatjara artist and senior lawman from South Australia's APY lands, a leading figure at Chala Arts. Ken was renowned for his vibrant linear paintings of ancestral sandhills, tali, and spear stories. Kulata Chuta. As an artist and educator, he dedicated his life to preserving Anangu culture and teaching traditional carving to younger generations. So, it's paintings of ancestral sandhills through spear stories. Jarkumoru, all one country. This painting is a topographical view of country where the flowing brown lines represent the mountains and natural contours of the land, and the community symbols celebrate the people and places that are forever connected. No matter where we come from, we all walk the same land, live beneath the same sky, and share a connection to country. A Jarkumuru is a reminder that we are all part of one greater story. So yeah, similar type of symbolic maps. So So the flowing brown lines represent the mountains and natural contours of the land. So these are, in Australia, by the way. Australian Aboriginal arts, Australian Aboriginal. I mean, there's no real art as we know it. Like, people didn't just paint because they liked pretty paintings. They only painted to enhance knowledge, because unlike us, they knew that the most beautiful thing is the earth. So you would never have to do anything if you wanted to look at beauty, unless you're an idiot. You don't have to create anything to see beauty, but you do have to create things to help memorize the beauty. Today at Ngarlangu, we can see round red rocks, which are the kapurdu that the emu smashed up. There's also a dance for this, Yankiri Emu Jukurpa. So Jukurpa is a myth, a dreaming. That is performed during men's initiation ceremonies. A number of other Jukurpa are also located at Ngarlangu, including Wardilika Jukurpa, bush turkey dreaming, Yardilchinipa Jukurpa, meat ant dreaming, and Perntina Jukurpa Woma, Ramses python dreaming. Lots of Yakajiri grow around the Ngarlangu area today. So it shows even in just one place, in just one place, there can be a bunch of different myths that encode all this different knowledge about, plants, knowledge about emus, knowledge about ants and, pythons, all these things. They're all tied to place, and you can memorize things much better when it's tied to a locality. In contemporary world period paintings, traditional iconography can be used to represent the Jukurpa, associated sites, and other elements. Yankiri are usually represented by arrow-like shapes depicting their Wirliya footprints as they walk around. So that's the Yankiri, that's the emu footprints that relate to topographical elements. Oh yeah, I'm watching the new live action Airbender things, so I thought of this, decided to make this meme based on the rap song. I love it when they call me Big Appa. Throw your horns in the air like you's a true player. This is some ivermectin I got that's helping me with my health issues. This is just, Neo-Assyrian relief, bas relief from Iraq, and a moche vessel, from flare vessel or something from Peru. So it's showing Apkalu priests, the type of Apkalu priest with the turban and the bandudu buckets, the holy bucket with the holy water, and the molilu purifier applicator to apply the holy water to the tree of life. That kind of thing. And there's Long Island's as a hand of God. This is Michigan, and I don't know, Michigan and Wisconsin or something, or maybe that's, I don't know, something in the Midwest. These are parts of the Midwest. This is a mnemonic analogy they use to navigate the Midwest. They use their hands. This has probably been used for thousands of years, this type of system. Hands were central to the Mississippian cosmology. So yeah, it's just see Detroit is here, Flint is here, Grand Rapids, Mackinac. So I guess between these are like Great Lakes. Yeah, Lake Huron and Lake Michigan, I guess. This is like, in Asia, there's a bunch of these like hell amusement parks where you get to see like people get stabbed in the butthole and whatnot while you eat your, cotton candy. These places are like all over Asia. And they used to do this in Europe, like hell fairs used to basically be the big fun time. Passion plays. So yeah, they're on the same, this is like that tree of swords, basically. That is Grubenstern Lagoon or whatever the fuck. But it's really just telling you, don't chase after pussy, don't chase after dick, or you're gonna like fuck yourself up. Like all this stuff is applicable to life explicitly. Like even the Backbiter Preta is about life. He's saying in the world of the living, I acted against my own welfare. By attacking others, I attacked myself. That's what it's saying. It's a metaphor. It's saying when you attack others unjustly, you are also attacking yourself. You're also sabotaging yourself. You are basically trying to bite them, but you're biting your own back. So that's the metaphor. So this is really not about the afterlife. This is about life. Then when I approach it, so it says, in the world of living, I acted against my own welfare with slander and lies and through fraud and deceit. So he's like devouring himself through evil, through sin. There, when I approached a company and the time to speak the truth came, I disregarded right conduct and my welfare and engaged in wrong conduct. Just as I now devour the flesh from my own back, in the same way will he who is a backbiter have to devour himself. But it doesn't say he will have to devour himself in the afterlife. That's kind of implied, but probably not the real meaning. It just means in general, in life, he will devour himself. Like if you're a backbiter, you're devouring yourself already. You yourself have seen this, Narada. Those who are compassionate and meritorious would say, do not slander or tell lies, and do not be a backbiter. So again, this is about life, really not the afterlife. The afterlife is like a teaching device, like didactic device for life. Let's see. Buddha. So yeah, it's like you climb up the tree to find the hot chick in the tree or the hot guy or whoever's. It's like whoever you're attracted to appears in the top of the tree. And then as soon as you get to the top of the tree and cut yourself up with all the sword branches, then they appear at the bottom of the tree, and then you go to the bottom and you just do that like for thousands of years or something. But it's still one of the better hells, because as you go further south and further on, it gets much worse. It's like millions of years in those, whereas this one's just like thousands. Chungara Ken with her beautiful artwork, ethical Aboriginal art arc. This is one of the best Facebook pages for Aboriginal Australian art. I hold my father's story, I hold my mother's story. It doesn't come out of paper or out of a book. It's coming out of the ground here. So that's what she's saying. She's trying to explain that this is not art, this is not books, this is not the stuff that modernized people recognize. This is ancient earth magic, earth science. A purgatory. Oh yeah, so I was watching this movie. It's in the hand of Dante. So, you know, Hollywood, a lot of Hollywood and the elites, like, they know the truth that the underworld is America, but they just won't say it directly to like the plebes, but they still hint at it in movies and stuff. So like in this one, this is definitely like star-studded cast, you know, Zio, IDF, Gal Gadot, Oscar Isaac, Jared Butler, Martin Scorsese, Al Pacino, Jason Momoa, John Malkovich. So these are like definitely top people. And the fact is Gal Gadot means like Mossad or whatever is involved, or Israel is involved. So yeah, they all know, like the people who own Israel and the US, they know that the underworld is America. So yeah, in their movie, okay, this is spoiler alert, like hold your ears for a minute if you don't, or skip past this if you don't want to know, but this is in that movie on Netflix, just came out. So this dude, he's like Dante, but he's like also Columbus. Yeah, he's basically Dante as Columbus in this scene, but they don't explain that, but that's basically what it is. So he's talking to his men, his sailors, who through the west, through perils without number, now have reached to this. They reach to land. Refuse not proof of the unpeopled world that lies beyond the sun. So, you know, they always knew there was a land across the sea. In the traditions, it was supposed to be unpeopled, but that's just the mythical part of it. Because traditionally, only one's own hemisphere is supposed to be peopled, and the opposite hemisphere is always mythically unpeopled. All right, so yeah, that's proof that the elites know this shit. It's just that they don't want you to know it. But it doesn't matter. I mean, they don't really have to hide it, because I try to tell people about this stuff and nobody cares. So it's like, why would you hide something that literally nobody cares about, or very, very few fucking people care about? So let's see. This is Crusenstern Lagoon. So this guy here, yeah, I think his face is somewhere in here. Like his mouth. I mean, it would be kind of weird if this was his mouth, but could be. It could be like this whole thing is his chin and this is his mouth. Or it could be this is his chin, that's his mouth. Or this is his chin, that's his mouth. That would fit better with him having all these holes, because then these would be the holes. And then the woman, Yeah, I'm thinking her hand is this part. Her face, I'm guessing, is somehow this part here, but there's not anything very easy in there. This part is probably this thing, or this thing here. Yeah, like this whole area is like down here. Hard to suss out a lot of the rest of it. But, you know, at least it definitely has these long granular and spiky bits in that side. And so this is Chitragupta. He's the record keeper of hell and really of the cosmos. He might represent Mercury, just as his boss Yama might represent Saturn, because Mercury is kind of like the scribe god, scribe planet, potentially based on its actual movements being similar to writing. So 2 iterations of Chitragupta represented by Avatar on 19th century Japanese scroll. So yeah, the question is, like, I'm pretty sure, and like in the painting it's flipped retrograde. So in this one I actually kind of mistakenly flipped the lands retrograde to match the painting, but I have another one where I did it the normal way. But yeah, so I think that this is, you know, him, and this is his tablet, the karma tablet, and this is like his naughty list, and he's like checking it twice and everything. And then, but I think this is also him, and this is also his tablet. The only other chance that I see is that somehow this is another iteration of this guy, and then this is another iteration of his tablet, or whatever that is. So yeah, we have American Bay, and then Elephant Point, Orzinsky Bay, Waterfall Points, Clark Bay, Red Hill, Grub Gulch, Dent Point, Ramsey Bay, all in the Alaskan Peninsula. So this is, I flipped the painting to match the actual land. So again, Ramsey Bay, Dent Point, Grub Gulch, Red Hill, Clark Bay, Waterfall Point, Orzinsky Bay, Elephant Point, American Bay. So yeah, the similarity of shape, I think it's also like Point Lobos in Monterey County, I think also has a similar thing where they only have one painting that represents 2, like one avatar that represents 2 very similar features right next to each other in the coast. Yeah. Because otherwise, if there was another avatar showing this guy somebody else, then I wouldn't think this. But since there isn't, this is my conclusion. And again, the other chance is that somehow this is another iteration of this guy, which his main action being Alexander Point over on the other side. But I doubt it. I think it's the other way. This kind of looks like a face with like an eye, or I don't know what. So this could be that, you know, like this is Nagai Island. So on the top, like this goes up, and there's like, it's like a long ass island. And on the top of it, there's a feature that seems to represent her head and all this. But it seems like, again, there might be multiple iterations from the same image, because there are all shapes that are similar in this part, which is on the bottom of the pole. So again, this could be another iteration of her head. Could even be that somehow she has 3 iterations and like both sides are her face in different ways. That like facing this way, like this thing on her hair is like this thing. And then I guess this would be her nose, and somehow this would be her mouth and chin, and this would be her eye. But then looking the other way, this would be her nose. This would be like her eye or eyebrow or something. And this would be like her mouth, and this would be all these little necklace thingies. So yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that this chick has like at least 3 iterations of her face. Yeah. Nanabozo. When Nanabozo, also known as Wenabozo or Nanabush, points his pipe stem towards the sky, he is addressing the creator and the spirit world. In Anishinaabe, Ojibwe oral traditions, this gesture is a profound act of respect, prayer, and humility. It signifies seeking guidance, offering tobacco as a sacred gift to the spirits, and opening communication between the earth and the heavens. Hello, Elliot. So yeah, I was thinking before that this part of Michigan or whatever, which I guess is the hand or I don't know what, but that this was the face of Nanabozo and that this is the pipe stem and that maybe this lagoon here is the pipe bowl or some part of the coast. But this actually fits better if Yama's Kupreanof Peninsula with his face here and then this being his pipe with its stem sticking upwards, because that really looks more like a pipe. It's like this, it has the stem, the bowl, and then it even like has like smoke coming out of it. This kind of underwater feature that resembles smoke. So at least this is a better candidate, I think, than the one I had before in the Midwest. So this is seemingly the face of this guy who's in the scale thing in the hellscape. So I guess this is his nose and this is his mouth, or it seems like they show him with his mouth open, so I'm not sure if that refers to something here. I don't know. Hard to see because it's very small features and kind of dark. So this is all right, maybe I should go to something. I should go to a bigger. I don't know. Well, okay, just starting from. Okay, so here is the scales scene. This is Devil's Bay. This is Chunkliut Island. This is Kupreanof Peninsula as King Emma Yama, who's likely Saturn. This is Bikuniuchi and Nagai Islands. So anyway, there's this demon here, and he's Unga Island, which part of Unga is this woman here. It's reading this paper, which is Popov Island. But the rest of Unga is this demon, and he's like, has his hand sticking out there, and it's like stuff like that. But here he's shown in front of Yama's table with his horn sticking into this in front of this dark area, and his hand sticking in front of like the floor. But really he's far away. But these actually relate to features, you know, just as Egg Island relates to Peninsula Island in its positioning. This avatar does relate to features of Caprianov itself that represent the horn and the fingers. So that would be like, you know, here's his fingers, and they show it mingled with all these other weird similar fingery shapes, which kind of distracts from how weird it is, probably deliberately. So this is his actual hand of Unga Island. But then these are these fingers that are in the same place that his hand is shown on Caprianov Peninsula. So, and it could be that these fingers kind of supply the lack of fingers on here. Yeah. Sorry, reposition a little bit. I like wreak havoc on my back just doing these freaking videos because it's awkward. But all right, so yeah, this is probably a finger, this is a finger, this is probably a finger, and then this is just the general pattern that his hand is in front of. So yeah, it's like his, like there's the table, and then there's this dark part on the side of the table, which seems to be this lagoon here. And so the demon's horn is going in front of the lagoon on the edge of it. So that seems to be this island right there being his horn, which is actually shaped almost the same as the demon's horn on Unga. But this is like a kind of tooth horn that like sticks out of its cheek or something. But it's shaped very similarly. So I think that's a reference to that similar shape by having his horn be there. I think. If it's not that, it's that there are some type of horny shapes on the other side of the lagoon, but I'm leaning towards this as being at least part of that. And then this is like the checkered area, you know, the checkered kind of Masonic floor. It's just the area with these kind of like mountains and valleys. And so, yeah, and then there's the hand. So both the, and then this is Unga itself. The hand is there. The face is here, facing down actually. And then here's the face again, closer up. So yeah, basically these two aspects seem to involve these weird analogies. And yeah, this is some other island that I think this kind of resembled, but I don't know, or it might have related to, but I don't know why. I thought that it might have been a false start on that one. Here's Krusenstern Lagoon. Not super anthropomorphic in here, but mostly just you can see the kind of spiky looking tree shape. And then this guy is like, I don't know, somewhere on here. So this whole area, which includes the scales, may be the Devil's Babe Batholith. Or at least this part of it may be called the Devil's Babe Batholith. Because So yeah, Alaska Peninsula, Chignik, Bay along the southern peninsula near the Gulf of Alaska is called Devil's Bay. The name references the nearby Miocene area Devil's Bay batholith, a large geological intrusion of igneous quartz diorite. So it could be that that is that whole area, and that because part of it is shaped like a devil or a demon or whatnot, which is the warning demon in the hellscape. And so it's interesting that the screen that he uses to warn people is in Warner Bay, and the devil who's warning people is in Devil's Bay. And this was actually not named after somebody named Warner. It's supposed to represent a warning or a prospect. And if there's nearby copper prospect, that could relate to these hellscapes too, because a lot of these symbolic maps were probably treasure maps or, mineral maps. Batholith is a massive, irregularly shaped body of intrusive igneous rock like granite that forms when magma cools deep within the Earth's crust. Devil's Bay batholith is located in southwest Alaska along the southern coast of the Alaska Peninsula. It stretches along the coastline from Kuyukta Bay to Cape Moller, with mapped exposures extending into the northeast parts of the region near Warner Bay and Devil's Bay itself. So yeah, because this is a very weird peninsula. I don't know of any peninsulas that are as weird as this. But because this area is so volcanic, it doesn't behave like the rest of the Earth. That might be why it was seen as the place of creation and death and whatnot. So one reason why the Buddhists divide hell into the hot hells and cold hells might be the same as like the Egyptians put, like, for them, the eastern side of hell is the dark hell and the western side was the bright hell. So for the Japanese, or for the Buddhists, it could be that the eastern side is the cold hell and the western side is the hot hell. But it could also be that since the hot hells seem to potentially include Trinidad right here, that's why, because it's mostly based on the fact that there's all the volcanoes on the west coast, but then there's also the ones that start in Trinidad and go up the Leeward Isles. This could also relate to the red line that runs north to south through America in the Egyptian and Ptolemaic systems, which represent the prime meridian and was called the Lake of Fire. It was supposed to be where the sun god was reignited and reborn each night. See, it has been claimed by many, but the evidence is too circumstantial to be sure one way or the other. Both the Pali and Sanskrit traditions have features reminiscent of Zoroastrianism. So I think I was trying to find out if Buddhism is based on Zoroastrianism, because they're basically the same thing. Pali tradition. The story of Mara tempting the Buddha on the night of his awakening is similar to that of Zoroaster being tempted by Ahriman. And, it's the same probably as Jesus being tempted by Satan or whatever the heck. Some think this is not an accident and indicates cultural diffusion from the Achaemenid or Parthian empires. Because the Persians basically, the Persian Empire stretched to India, and had huge influence, because Hinduism itself basically came from Persia. And so when the Persians reformed their religion into Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, Hinduism was very soon after, reformed into Buddhism. It is widely accepted academically in the West that the development of celestial bodhisattvas and Buddhas happened partially due to the influence of Greek religion on Buddhism in the Indo-Greek kingdom of Gandhara. However, it is also speculated that Zoroastrianism may have played a role in this, in the cultural and religious melting pot that was the Kushan Empire in Afghanistan. This is all I know. I would love to hear from Zoroastrians on how much you see in Buddhism that is eerily similar to Zoroastrianism. Silk Road translators. Ancient Iranian peoples such as the Parthians, Sogdians, and Scythian Sakas were the primary translators and disseminators of Buddhist texts into Chinese. While some speculate that the Zoroastrian threefold path, good thoughts, good works, good deeds, influenced the Buddhist eightfold path, opinions in academic and religious communities differ, and direct doctrinal borrowing remains a topic of ongoing discussion. If you'd like to explore, so yeah, I certainly think they're connected. Maitreya. Scholars often link the Buddhist concept of Maitreya, the future Buddha, to the Zoroastrian messianic figure Saoshyant or Astvat Ereta, both of whom represent a figure of ultimate salvation and cosmic renewal. Light imagery. The intense reverence for light and the sun in Mahayana traditions such as Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light, may reflect syncretism with Zoroastrian solar and fire veneration. Textual and cultural transmission. Silk Road translators, ancient Iranian peoples such as the Parthians, Sogdians, Scythians. Geographical proximity. The cradle of Zoroastrianism in ancient northeastern Iran and Central Asia overlapped with key routes where Buddhism spread from India to China. The Achaemenid connection. The life of the Buddha coincided with the Achaemenid conquest, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, of the Indus Valley, Gandhara, and Sind by Darius in the 6th century BCE. The prolonged presence of Persian religions and governance in India may have provided a cultural backdrop that Buddhist philosophies reacted against. So, yeah, basically the Gandhara and Sind, northern India area was either Persian or under direct Persian influence at the time of Buddha's supposed life. So there's a good chance that they heavily influenced him or them. Yada. Nanabozo. What planet are you closest to? So I don't know how much this relates to these traditions, because I know in antiquity, every part of the earth was linked up with the part of the sky. So I don't know if it was based on this same type of concept of an area being closer to a certain place. Like it could be that because Saturn is closest to this area, that's why the people in that area worship Saturn the most. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, so I'm apparently closest to Venus, and then Alaska is closest to Uranus. Which Uranus, I probably did have a name in antiquity, but it probably wasn't Uranus, because Uranus means the whole sky, the whole heaven. This is Yama, Lord Yama, who probably represents Saturn, or likely represents Saturn. certainly has been described as such by many. He's basically the god of the world, god of the cosmos, ruler and judge. This is San Francisco, where I'm from, like Bayview, Hunters Point area. I'm from like right here, Bernal Heights Hill. But yeah, this is like Islas Creek Channel, Warm Bay Cove, or Warm Water Cove as her hair. Pelican, or Heron Head Point as her bottom jaw. And then this is like some piers here. I don't know if there's a name for that peninsula. And then this is like, Hunters Point Naval Stockyard is this guy's face. He's like stabbing himself in the eye with his hands, which are these little inlets where they put boats or something. Then this one's, her hand is over here. This guy's head is here. He's pointing the other direction. His hand is here in Brisbane. And then this guy, this smiling guy. I mean, they might all be smiling, but he's definitely smiling. He's South San Francisco. So it shows, like the ghosts that are being tortured in hell because they're all being burned, like there's flames or something. They're smiling because it's all a joke, and it even says in the text for this section that the flames are metaphorical. It just means passion, and how it's just talking about how your passions can destroy you, but they can also be fun, like that guy. Daijonet Sujigoku translates as the hell of great burning or the great frying hell. It is the seventh of the 8 hot hells in Buddhist cosmology. So this is the capital, Yamapura, King Yama. This is the 2 poles, Nagai and Bhikkun Then these 3 guys, like Egg, Paul and Jacob. This guy's Alexander. This guy's Dent and Red Hill. And this is Unga and Popov. And then over here, Chankliut and Devil's Bay, Batholith area, Devil's Bay, Warner Bay, where the devil's warning the guy, showing what's going to happen to him on the screen, TV screen. And yeah, just the scales. So this is Libra. It's like, at least this part of America seems to be Libra. And probably maybe a bigger section too, because there's other ancient texts where they refer to the underworld as Libra, and it is usually in the underworld that in multiple traditions that there are scales of judgment, which are the symbol of Libra, the constellation. As above, so below. Every part of the earth is a part of the sky. Every part of the earth is a constellation and also associated with certain planets. Chankliut is just dragging this other guy that's over here. So it's hard to get, the perfect image that makes everything visible. This one is okay, except that Facebook blocks it out, so to open in a new tab. Oh wow. I guess I have to shrink it. Yeah. So There's Yama, zooming in on his head. There's Unga and Popov, Nagai, Kuprianov, Dent, Red Hill, Egg, Paul, Jacob, Alexander, Bikonyuji, Chankliut, Devil's Bay, Warner Bay, Devil's Bay Batholith, and this is the constellation of Libra. I'm not actually sure when are Libras born. That might relate to stuff. I don't know. It's hard to know how much. I think a lot of astrology is actually ancient cosmology and chronology, but it's hard to know which parts. So there's that, then this shows that, and also California, like this is, Marin County here, like Sonoma, etc. The peninsula here, Santa Cruz, and then Monterey Peninsula and Monterey Coast in that area as these avatars. And then these are all the islands of LA, the Channel Islands. And then these are the Alaskan Peninsula island, shapes of Yamapura, capital. So basically this is, there are a lot of other panels, but those are just some that I included. This is Corvin Island and Kuprianov Peninsula. So these are another instance of something that is shown once in the painting, but actually seems to represent two geographic elements. One being this part of Kuprianov Peninsula, which is just below, his face, and the other being Corvin Island, which has this very similar ridge system that is somewhat similar to writing, especially Sanskrit writing. Because this is like Sanskrit writing, so it's very it's kind of like cursive. It's like attached, but it has all these squiggles and stuff. So it could be that the whole thing, that all the side squiggles are seen as separate lines, or that it's all seen as one line like this somehow, even though it's shown like that. Hard to know. Yeah, so here is here are the scales of Libra. And so there's this demon head on the top. Then there's these three lines under that head. So that's these three lines there. Then there's the notch where this rock is hanging from. So that's this notch. 4 is the end of the pole here. 5 is the rock that's hanging. 6 is this demon down here with this long nose, or his nose is actually sticking straight up here, but there they have him looking forward. 7 is the bottom of the pole. 8 is the person being weighed, but they're actually facing the other direction. 9 is this side of this pole, the end of this pole. And then 10 is the notch that the person is hanging from. It's this thing. So, 19th century Japanese Buddhist hellscape illustrated essentials of rebirth in the Pure Land. Kuyukta Bay, Devil's Bay. So the Pure Land is probably America as well, but it's kind of in a different. Sukhavati, the Western Pure Land. So this is the Devil's Bay and Warner Bay, the devil warning the guy about being tortured, showing him the TV screen or the movie screen of like him being tortured somehow. So I think this is the screen, and like this thing that sticks out from the screen is this part, and the base down here is this part, and the stuff on the screen is somehow like these shapes, but it's hard to really suss it out entirely. And then the demon with the ghost or whatever is like, this is the demon, and I think the ghost's head is here, and this is his mouth or something. He's like freaking out. Yeah. And like this part up here is somehow like this part here, but I haven't, identified each detail or every detail. This could be another avatar of Yama, where like this is Yama's face, this is his bison that he sits on, and then this is Chitragupta, and then this is the tablet of Dharma. So because there's a lot of different avatars and different paintings, so this could be one of the early ones. King James Version. Here. So, Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, the chapter of not dying a second time. The Osiris Ani, whose word is truth, saith, Hail Thoth, what is it that hath happened to the children of Nut? They have waged war, they have upheld strife, they have done evil, they have created the fiends, they have made slaughter, they have caused trouble. In truth, in all their doings, the strong have worked against the weak. Grant, O might of Thoth, that which the god Tem hath decreed may be done. And thou regardest not evil, nor art thou provoked to anger when they bring their years to confusion and throng in and push in to disturb their months. For in all that they have done unto thee, they have worked iniquity in secret. I am thy writing palette, O Thoth, and I have brought unto thee thine ink jar. I am not of those who work iniquity in their secret places. Let not evil happen unto me. And then Psalm 82, King James Version, says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. So I think these are related passages that basically, when he's saying, he's referring to children of the Most High, and this is referring to the children of Nut, who's heaven. So that's the same thing. Nut, children of Nut. So basically the sky gods. The children of Nut are all sky gods, all stars. And so when it's saying they're working iniquity in secret, it means like in the underworld, which is the secret world, the unseen world, they are secretly, they're forming like, plans with each other to basically change their course so that they don't rise at the proper place on the horizon. And so it's just referring to the way celestial ages end, because celestial age is based on, using stars as markers for the cosmos and for time. So there's like a north star, a south star, an east star, west star, stuff like that. When those stars change, position due to the precession of the equinox, then they no longer rise in the place they're supposed to, and so they're seen as rebels and as criminals and whatnot. And so then they're cast down to the underworld, and then a new cosmos is born, and which basically means they just have to wait for new stars to occupy those positions. Yeah, so when it says like, because the stars are used for the calendar, it says, and thou regardest not evil, nor art thou provoked to anger when they bring their years to confusion and throng in and push in to disturb their months. It's basically saying they're ruining the calendar because they are not rising at the right place. None of this is literal. Modern people like to believe that traditional religion is literal and that all of our ancestors were complete idiots. But no, none of this is literal. They were using metaphor. And then in this one, so yeah, often the underworld is the place where the iniquity is hatched because they rise from the underworld. All celestial bodies rise from the underworld, from the horizon, the Akhet. And where it says here, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. So because the earth, like those are the pillars of the earth, the four winds, the four pillars, the pillars of Atlas and Shu. Like the North Star is referred to as a pillar. The South Star, all those type of, orientation stars are pillars. And once they move, then the whole temple falls and has to be rebuilt. And yeah. So there's a lot of different myths that, like that's probably the myth of when Samson destroys the Philistines in Gaza. So that's probably what the reptiloids are doing right now. They like to fulfill myths or, pretend that they are, continuations of the ancients by trying to interweave mythology into stuff. So that's probably, or that may be a reason why they're destroying Gaza the way that Samson destroyed it when he brought down the pillar of the temple. But that was actually just referring to the end of a world age when the North Star and all the other orienting stars had changed position. All right, I don't know what this is. Clear sequence from Hesiod's Theogony. Primary source summary. Uranus, the sky, fathered the Titans with Gaia, the earth. Uranus oppressed or imprisoned his children. So yeah, like in the Egyptian, the sky is the woman, the earth is the man. The earth is Geb, the sky is Nut. But in Greek, the sky is the man and the earth is the woman, Gaia. And it's usually when the earth and the sky separate that fire is born. But that might be a different thing. Gaia made a sickle and persuaded her Titan sons to act. Kronos, the youngest Titan, ambushed Uranus and castrated him with the sickle, casting Uranus's severed genitals into the sea. From the sea foam, Aphros. Around the severed genitals emerged Aphrodite. Uranus's removal allowed the Titans to rule. So, so yeah, like Aphrodite is Venus, but it means sea foam, Aphros. So it's the same etymology as the one of the main Viracocha, one of the main gods of the Andean peoples in Peru, whose name translates as sea foam. So there's a good chance he's a male version of Venus, because often traits of gods will remain static even when the gender changes. Let's see. Cronus then became ruler, but later swallowed his children to prevent being overthrown. So Cronus is probably, Yama, the lord of the cosmos, which is Caprianov Peninsula. Zeus, his son, escaped, hidden, or substituted, and later led the Olympian gods in a war, the Titanomachy, that overthrew the Titans. Zeus did not castrate or murder Cronus in the canonical myths. After the Titanomachy, accounts vary. In Hesiod, some Titans were imprisoned in Tartarus. Later traditions often portray Cronus as confined, or in certain Hellenistic Roman accounts, and in some Orphic or variant traditions as ruling a golden age, or even as a beneficent ruler in Elysium, or on the islands of the blessed. Roman poets, e.g. Ovid, and later sources sometimes adapt or reshape these outcomes. So that could be just based on Yama or based on other versions, because like Yama is described as being Saturn, which is what Kronos is. Kronos is Saturn. And Yama was the ruler of the Golden Age. He was also Adam, and he is also the beneficent ruler in Elysium, or in the Isles of the Blessed, which are the same place. That means the underworld. So, yeah, could be that in the most normal Greek stuff that he was not portrayed that way, but that they knew that in other traditions Saturn was portrayed that way. But the Orphic people, their stuff is pretty ancient, so, but it's hard to know how much of it is Greek. So yeah, this is just the Pisces scene. So yeah, I'm not sure how much of the underworld is Pisces, but I think this part is. This is like a dark-skinned Mary or something in an old English church in London. Chunkliut Island with the horns and the smile. See, everybody's smiling in hell. Like the demons are smiling, the ghosts are smiling, Yama's smiling, everybody's smiling. It's a hell of a time. Hella fun. So yeah, this is him, this is these guys, this is basically this whole scene. So this is like the world as in the, traditional cosmology, like of Afro-Eurasia. Like Afro-Eurasia is the world, and then America is the underworld. And then it seems that in Buddhist cosmology, Greenland is the Deva world, which is the northern kind of, Olympian gods, sky gods, the northern stars. So it just shows like how, because most people have no fucking clue. When people talk about sailing to America, they have no clue like what that entails. So this is, Asia, Europe, America. So obviously the easiest way to get here is this way, which in winter you can walk across, and in summer you can swim across, and all year you can see across. But another easy way is just going from Scotland to Iceland to Greenland and then on to like Devon and Baffin and or Ellesmere and Devon and Baffin, Quebec. So yeah, that's the main ways. The main ways are either you can go along these archipelagos like the Kuril Islands from Japan to Kamchatka, and then the Aleutian, Preta, Hungry Spirit Realm from Kamchatka to Alaska. So that's one way to do it, as long as you don't run aground on any of these islands. Then another way is, this way, just go across the little tiny place and you even get to island hop. There's like 2 islands even at the closest part. The Demeter Islands, which might be based on some similar mythology. But yeah, the other ways, if you're in Russia, you can, like if you're in this part of Russia, I mean, this is Russia obviously too, but if you're in this part of Russia, you can island hop from here. This might be Bolshevik Islands. One of these is Bolshevik Island. From here to here to here to here. Or if you're in this part of Russia, you can island hop from this long ass island to here to here to here. Or if you're in Scandinavia, you can go to, you can either go straight across to Scotland or to the Shetlands and the Faroes and to Iceland here, or you can sail coastal along here and just go up the British coast and then island hop across to Iceland, Greenland, and Canada. And then same for people over here. Like the Celts, they always said to get to the underworld, they went northwest. So they would go here, like the continental Celts, they always said they would go to Britain and then a sailor would bring us. British sailors would carry them northwest. The Norse usually said northwest as well. So yeah, these people were not just sailing west across the whole fucking curvature of the earth. And yeah, it's funny that Iberia and Siberia are kind of the 2 sides of this. And there's Newfoundland there, Canada, Alaska. This shows, well, the North Pole is pretty close to Greenland. Like Greenland is closest land to the North Pole. I mean, so yeah, the North Pole, like if you really want to go see Santa in the North Pole, you just got to dive right in. But if you want to go to land that's near the North Pole, you got to go here. Here's these weird Caprianov fingers. So Libra is the 7th astrological sign in the zodiac, represented by the scales, spanning September 23rd to October 22nd in the tropical zodiac. This air sign is ruled by Venus. Libras are known for being diplomatic, fair-minded, and highly sociable. So it's hard to know whether the ruling planet, how ancient the ruling planet thing is, or how universal that was. I mean, I think some version of that is very ancient and very universal. But whether it was always Venus, I mean, it could also be that somehow Yama is Venus. But yeah, I don't know exactly how that relates. Personality traits. Libras strive for balance, harmony, and peace. They are natural mediators who are highly adaptable and value cooperation through their desire to avoid conflict can sometimes lead to indecisiveness. Strengths, gracious, diplomatic, and intelligent. They are excellent at seeing multiple perspectives and bringing people together. Weaknesses: can be indecisive, tend to hold grudges, and may struggle with confrontational situations. So I really have no idea if like astrology as we know it is real, but I know that it's based on real like ancient science, ancient astronomy, which was mostly just used for chronology, used as a calendar. But the more you give character to your calendar, the more memorable it is. Astrological profile: air, quality cardinal, ruling planet Venus, symbol of the scales, the only inanimate object in the zodiac. That's interesting. The only inanimate object in the zodiac. If you want to, and it's one of the only inanimate objects in these hellscapes. I mean, other than trees, I guess you could say inanimate. I mean, there's some other inanimate things. Ever do. Okay. In Vedic astrology and Hindu mythology, the connection between Yama, the god of death, Dharma, and justice, and Venus, Sukra, is most profoundly expressed through Bharani Nakshatra. Here is a breakdown of how the energies of Yama and Venus blend. The cosmic intersection, Bharani Nakshatra. The rulership. Bharani is the second lunar mansion, 1320 Aries, and is ruled entirely by Venus. Its presiding deity is Yama, the lord of death and cosmic justice. So it's like it's ruled by Venus, but its presiding deity is Yama. While Venus is the planet of love, beauty, creativity, and sensuality, Yama represents the gateway to life, death, and the transition of the soul. This creates a powerful tension. Love and beauty are seen as forces that carry the ultimate weight and transformation of life itself. And it could be that Venus is the twin of Yama, because Yama means twin, male twin. So it could be that Venus is his female twin, and that either they're both Venus or that Venus is seen as a twin of Saturn in some ways, both being bright planets and whatnot. Venus, Shamalava, Venus in the form of Yama. In deeper studies of Vedic philosophy, such as those by astrologer Sanjay Roth, every planet takes on a specific form of Yama. When acting in this capacity, Venus is known as Syamalapati, or the Lord of Syamala. In this specific form, Venus represents the sanctity and continuity of vows, true love, marriage, and celibacy, even beyond the death of a spouse. It represents a deeply committed, enduring love that transcends the physical realm and is bound by karmic duty. Traits of Venus in Bharani: intense passions. Individuals with Venus or the moon placed in this nakshatra love deeply and intensely. They view relationships as transformative rather than just superficial or playful. Creative force. They view relationships as transformative rather than just superficial or playful. Creative force. The symbol of Bharani is the yoni, the vagina, the female organ of reproduction, making this a highly fertile placement, not just in terms of physical childbirth, but in manifesting new artistic, creative, or material endeavors, life and death, rather than being afraid of endings. Those aligned with this energy understand that destruction is merely a prerequisite for creation. Blah, blah. All right. List of nakshatras. So I think these are moons. Like, I think every full moon is a god and is associated with a certain planet or something, or star or constellation. In Indian Vedic astronomy, there are 27 nakshatras or sectors along the ecliptic. A list of them is first found in the Vedanga Jyotisha, a text dated to the final centuries BCE. The nakshatra system predates the influence of Hellenistic astronomy on Vedic tradition, which became prevalent from about the 2nd century CE. There are various systems of enumerating the nakshatras, although there are 27 to 28 days to a sidereal month. By custom, only 27 days are used. The following list gives the corresponding regions of the sky. Months in the modern Indian national calendar, which is based on the traditional Nirayana sidereal calendar, are named after 12 of the nakshatras, but do not coincide with the times when the sun is passing through these nakshatras. In fact, they are close to the opposite. It is possible that during the original naming of these months, whenever that happened, they were based on the position of the full moon opposite the sun. The modern Indian national calendar is a solar calendar, much like the Gregorian calendar, wherein solstices and equinoxes fall on the same dates every year. Oh, yeah. They always say, like, oh, you can't support Palestine unless you're homophobic or whatever. But, like, meanwhile, the Zionists are homophobic as shit and they, like, fund all the right wing movements. Let's see, this is Yamapura again. Can't see his face very well, but can see the other things. So his face is upside down. Like a lot of these demons, their features are flipped around different ways, but he's the only one whose face is actually upside down. Which matches, there's like an Egyptian god that's referred to as that upside down face. But see, this is the demon head here and the 3 lines, and then not really sure about this thing right here. If that, I mean, you'd think that should be an actual thing, but if so, what is it? Maybe there's some small feature in there that relates, because I don't think it's this thing. Anyway. See, I wasn't sure, like, is the screen here or is the screen here? The reason I think it's here is because of this thing that sticks out from it that I think is this, because there's nothing that really sticks out from anything around there. But otherwise, so it basically means that they are flipped around, like, because here they're shown like facing away from this thing, but here, like, yeah. It's normal on these mytho maps that things are rearranged to make it more esoteric. Maybe for other reasons. Oh yeah, this is like a myth from what was this? I think it's this movie Scarlet. It's like a anime about the underworld. So they're like, how to make a myth. You find some feature of the earth that's shaped like something, a person or object, and then you make a story about it to memorize it. So this, they show these people, they're running up the mountain because they think like they're basically in the capital of hell, which is probably basically Yamapura. Then they think if they go up this mountain, which may be Denali, that they will reach to heaven, to the eternal land. And but then the mountain is like a volcano and it erupts and they all like get lavaed on and stuff. So they all get burned to shit and then they look like this. So, but I recognize that because I know the earth pretty well. So I knew it was this feature right here. I knew that this was like this actual place in Hawaii, like the Hawaiian Gale, also called the portal to hell, refers to a lava skylight formed when a lava tube collapses, exposed. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this actual place, I forget the name of it, but it looks like people. It looks like a bunch of corpses that died in lava. So that's what they used as their base for this, obviously. So that is a proper myth. Like what they did in this movie is not different from what shamans have been doing for thousands of years. It's not different from what I study. It's just a little more high-tech way to do it. So yeah, I don't know if I showed this in my last video or not, but a but anyway, I'll just go over it again. So he comes there, he says, like, was this a battleground? Because it's like Valhalla, you know, like in the underworld, you know, Valhalla is part of hell. It's like the first part of hell that you enter in both Buddhism and in Norse cosmology. And so, yeah, Valhalla is where they just fight endlessly. That's basically Norton Sound in Alaska. And so that's why he says, was this a battleground? He like finds an arrow. Then he sees like, abandon hope, all ye who enter here. So that's from Dante's Inferno. That's on the gates of hell. So he says, the gates of hell. This is hell. Don't make me laugh. Disappointed you're not in heaven. And then I think she said, like, you're pretty confident, huh? But I didn't get a picture of that one. But then she says, everybody thinks we go to heaven or hell when we die, but we all come here without exception. It's not the afterlife we imagined. So that's basically true. Like in traditional cosmology, they say Jigoku is inevitable. They have all these things to make you think if you're the best somehow angel, you don't go there. But if you actually read between the lines, you see that everybody goes there. I mean, it's the traditional afterlife for all peoples. All right, I think I might have done these already last time about Ocker. Yeah. All right. Well, that's most of the thing. I guess I'll leave it at there. I'm just going to scroll to like the end and make sure got everything. This will be my first 2-hour video. I'm just trying to like get all this stuff into a video because it's hard for me to make these videos a lot. So I just getting it out of the way. That way all this stuff is technically on YouTube. Delete it or whatever. So yeah, this is just showing the Preta realm and how people are supposed to give offerings to the Pretas. Oh yeah, this is about how people can use menses as medicine or as substance normally discarded each month may hold surprising clues for repairing damaged joints. Scientists have found that tiny biological particles taken from menstrual blood-derived stem cells can encourage cartilage cells to rebuild key parts of their protective structure. These particles, called extracellular vesicles, act like microscopic message carriers. In lab experiments, they appear to stimulate chondrocytes, the cells that maintain cartilage, to produce more extracellular matrix, including important cartilage supporting components such as collagen and proteoglycans. That matters because osteoarthritis is not just joint pain, it is a general. The exciting part is that menstrual blood-derived cells are relatively easy to collect compared with bone marrow-derived cells, and using their extracellular vesicles could one day support a cell-free regenerative therapy. However, this is still early-stage laboratory research, not a treatment available for patients yet. So they still haven't managed to make this a treatment. Whereas it seems that the ancient Egyptians knew about this thing that these people just discovered with their well-funded academia and everything. The ancient Egyptians seem to have known about it 4,000 years ago, and they probably practiced, used it for thousands of years. So it just shows like how pathetic modern civilization is compared to like real civilization. Yes, ancient Egyptians. So yeah, like in the text, it says to put the substance from the something girl and the bald man on your skin, on your body. So I Googled it, says, yes, ancient Egyptians used menstrual fluid medicinally. Medical texts like the Papyrus Ebers show they used period blood in healing ointments and potions. They used these mixtures to heal various health problems. While it sounds strange today, they believed period blood had magical protective and healing powers. Oh, magical. And somehow magically it took us until now to find out they were right, that they're healing powers. They always have to dismiss the ancients as superstitious so that they can mitigate their own sense of inferiority to them. To manage normal periods, they also created early tampons by softening papyrus grass, similar to modern tampons, but soaked with remedies to cure vaginal or womb issues. All right, so yeah, that's basically what they did every single day while reading the entire Book of Two Ways, which is a map of the cosmos, every part of the earth and every part of the sky. And they used the urine of the bald man, or the substance of the bald man, but it was probably his urine, for having like high testosterone, because bald men are supposed to have high testosterone. Yes, ancient Egyptians used urine medicinally. Medical records like the famous, let me pull up those Egyptian medical records. Like the famous Ebers Papyrus, so that's the same papyrus, written around 1550 BC, lists human urine as a key ingredient in ointments and mixtures to treat skin conditions, eye diseases, and wounds. Ancient doctors believed urine was a pure distilled product of the blood. They often mixed it with other ingredients like dung, beer, and herbs. This is similar to how we use modern medicines. They also tested urine to see if a patient was sick or to check for pregnancy by pouring it on wheat seeds. While ancient Egyptians, see, it's like modern people, like if you took like the average, like modern, like the average, like 100 people, put them on an island, they would probably never invent anything. Like you come back in 1,000 years and they'll still just be like, grunting at each other and like cannibalizing each other. You know, like people are so removed from like actual civilization where they actually like do intelligent things. We're just in the world of like shit that seems intelligent. People who pose as intelligent but are just delusional psychos. Um, so yeah, as for after he has rubbed his body with the substance of the girl and the substance of the bald man, that he should recite it every day. So, like people say, oh yeah, they didn't bathe, they didn't do anything in the old days. No, they bathed like every day. Like people like this, like the ruling class, they shaved their entire body every 3 days, or they waxed it or something. They got rid of all their body hair every 3 days. They rubbed their entire body with period and piss every single day while reciting an entire book, which is also the entire cosmos. Like they didn't really fuck around. I don't know. I can kind of relate because I've been rubbing like ivermectin all over myself lately. So, and fenbendazole. So I know what it's like to be, you know, deluged in weird substances and reading archaic texts. But, all right, just make sure that's it. That I didn't miss anything else. Sure, anybody, if anybody watches this whole video, they're probably going to do it in installments, but if not, hats off to you. So yeah, let's see. I think that's most of the things. Oh yeah, from when in the movie where they say that they're going, that Dante's going to purgatory. Let's see, did I pass that already? Sorry. So in the movie In the Hand of Dante, they say that who through the West, he's talking to the sailors, and it's basically Dante has reincarnated as Columbus, and he also reincarnates as this other guy. Who through the West, through perils without number, now have reached to this, refuse not proof of the unpeopled world that lies beyond the sun. So that's paraphrasing Dante because it does say that somewhere here. Well, this would be like impossible to freaking read. But it's like different. Like they made it in the movie even more explicit. Hen hast driven o'er land and sea, thy wings thou beatest, thy name spreads over hell. Where's that shit? Oh, no. Flinty steps. I scaled the flinty steps. So in the Egyptian underworld books, it talks about flint a lot. So flint, I guess, just refers to just that type of rock, different certain islands that are flinty. All right, I cannot find this freaking place. I mean, it should be here, but basically, I found like the original Dante that they paraphrased, but yeah, the original was not as explicit. Like it was talking about the West, but it was a little more esoteric, whereas Hollywood tried to like translate it a little bit. Alright, I don't know where the heck this is. Upon the bridge. Yeah, sorry, but somewhere in here. And Hamlet's Mill seems to hint at the fact that, or at least dances around the fact that Columbus knew about America through ancient mythology. I mean, it certainly talks about how Columbus acted like he did. I mean, he talked about how South America was Eden, just as Eden is supposed to be in the underworld across the sea, according to Dante and other traditional Christian cosmologists. Oh, God damn it. All right. This piece of shit is fucking up. Oh, I guess it's here. Maybe. Well, let's see. Now there above the circle of the moon did ever night behold so many stars. So it shows like that hell is not underground because they can see the stars. The Mount of Purgatory, amongst the various opinions of theologians respecting the situation of the terrestrial paradise, Pietro Lombardo relates that it was separated by a long space either of sea or land from the regions inhabited by men, and placed in the ocean, reaching as far as to the lunar circle, so that the waters of the deluge did not reach it. So that explains why, like, it's probably the ark, or it's one of the arks. Like, it's Yama as the original Noah built the underground ark, which is basically America, because it's beyond the realms of the deluge, being something celestial. So yeah, still can't find that frickin' place though where it says the unpeopled. Whatever. Maybe it's this one. Oh, brothers, I began. Yeah, see, it's totally different. Oh, brothers, I began. Woe to the West. Although it has like a parenthesis before woe, so I don't know if that's supposed to be short for something. Maybe woe is short for something. O brothers, I began. Woe to the West through perils without number. Now have we reached to this the short remaining watch, that which our senses have to wake. Refuse not proof of the unpeopled world, following the track of Phoebus. So yeah, they made it much more explicit because they took out the woe. They just said travels through the West, and they added the unpeopled world beyond the sea, which is not here. So they know what they're doing. They know, like Hollywood and Israel, the US, CIA, people who own us, they are not, they don't fall for their own psyops, so they know the truth. This N has come in joy. So that's like this Osiris has come in joy that he may announce the number of cubits of Re as Kepre. So all the celestial bodies are used to measure things. Horusum Re circulates in the sky when he sees this Osiris among those who are at the oars. Darkness, he whose face is upside down and whose shapes are numerous, the keeper of the first gate. So it's interesting that this would be a perfect description of Yama as Kupriyanov, because he is the keeper of the first gate. He seems to be one who has many avatars, so he's one with whose shapes are numerous, and obviously his face is upside down. So just the fact that there's the concept of a god whose face is upside down is, further confirmation of Yama. He whose face, but I don't think this, as far as I know, this doesn't relate to Kupriyanov Peninsula, because part 12, I think it relates to some part of Afro-Eurasia, but I could be wrong. It could be that they somehow group it separately, because it's certainly not in the main section about America. The main America section is part 2. So this is pretty far from there. But who knows? At least in some way it relates to Yama, either directly or indirectly. He whose face is upside down and whose shapes are numerous, the keeper of the first gate, he lives on the demolishers, those who do not know how to pass by it. What is in front of him is the utterance for passing by him. Even the protection of this Osiris is against him. This Osiris knows the ferry crossing of the one who created his own name. This Osiris has come from the sky of Rudi after this Osiris had saved Ma'at. Ma'at is like Venus. Make way for this Osiris that he may receive the word crown from upon the head of Hormsu Re. Look, it is in the hand of Osiris. After he had brought it, make way for this Osiris that he may pass on it, that he may present Ma'at, and that he may open the darkness, fire. He who lives on maggots, the keeper of the middle gates. He who lives on him who does not know how to go to this sky. So there's often like reference to those who know how to go to the sky and those who don't. So I'm sure people were flying around, but I don't know what they were using exactly. But sometimes the maps of America look like plans for crafts of some kind. So potentially flying crafts, but at least boats. All right. So this is from the same, Japanese 19th century Japanese Buddhist house scrolls, but this is from the starving spirit realm, so it's not in hell proper. So this is the island that is the, lotus posture guy with the skull in the 12th century paintings, because it matched up very well. So I tried to match it to this because this is him in this one, and it seems to match, but maybe the opposite way, like upside down. So like, because it seemed that this was the way for the other one, but for this one, it seems that potentially this is the way, where it's showing down here, this thing here, and this thing here, and then him as being this, where somehow his head is this, his hair is probably the water around that, like, coming out there. And then this is one arm, and this is another arm, and then the skull is being part of this right here, and then the two legs here, and this thing sticking out being like that, and like this part where it comes down there being like here, and then showing these little islands here, there. So yeah, that's my best guess for that one. Seems to be because yeah, that the 19th century Hungry Spirit painting is a bit harder to suss out than the 12th century one. All right, I think that's most of the things. Just gotta go back to the beginning again. So yeah, it's like somehow I'm the only like civilian like rando that knows the truth and cares about it enough to like try to promulgate it. Or I have a friends, maybe I have a few friends that are into it too, but it's not many of us. But there are probably a lot of people who know a lot of this stuff, but they will never tell it to anybody who's not chosen. I mean, traditionally, all this stuff is very secretive, but it's hard for me to take that seriously when like everything is mostly in the hands of scumbags nowadays. I mean, maybe originally mythology was all held by the best elders, and maybe that's still true in some places, but in this country and in most of the earth, probably not. It's probably knowledge, and especially ancient knowledge, is just like suppressed and hoarded by the elites and kept from the rest of us. All right, so anyway, I'll leave it at that. This is already 2.5 hours, so hopefully I won't have to do a video for a little while because I got all this stuff up and covered. All right, well, take care, and don't be a backbiter. Peace.